We'll call the meeting of the Board of Assessors to order, and we are being taped on the local cable TV.
You have two appointments this evening, one at 6:15 and one at 6:30. For my report, I just have a couple of things. I made a copy of a thank you card that you received from Miss Donna Carter.
I saw that, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. The Department of Revenue is having a workshop at several locations, one in Danvers, one in Shrewsbury, one in Sandwich on March 20th, April 2nd, and April 10th, respectively. I plan to go to the workshop in Sandwich on April 10th.
What's it regarding? No, sorry.
It's an update on new growth. You're going to require communities to submit a new growth certification standards, changes in the guidelines, and update the reviewing of the utility classes, class 504, and state-owned land. About a 2-hour program.
I know they're with the way they work on the state-owned land. They got a lot of work of doing that stuff. Because we looked at some of that stuff, and it's really all over the board. Typically the assessors won't look at that in their community for years and years because it's exempt property, and now they're kind of forcing their hand, which is good.
Just remind the board that you have a budget meeting with the Board of Selectmen this evening at 8:15, and with the FinCom tomorrow evening at 8:35. There's a special town meeting scheduled for the 25th of April at 7 p.m. at the West Bridgewater Middle Senior High School. And it's a short window for getting articles on the warrant. It's 14 days. And
that is short, yeah.
There are planning board minutes for January 16th and February 6th for your review. Take a look at those.
Okay.
And that's all I have for my announcements. The other item on your agenda for this evening is discussion of the budget regarding the vacant secretarial position. Member Bunker asked to have that put on the agenda.
Yeah.
That was not what I asked to be put on the agenda. My question of what was on the agenda is when Steve asked me why I don't support it. And my reasoning had nothing to do with the budget. My concerns were the management and the way things are run in the office. And John interjected saying he didn't feel that was an appropriate conversation because it wasn't on the agenda, and it's still not on the agenda. Because I did send John an email, and the response was he wanted to discuss it with you, and I haven't heard anything since. So,
It was my thought, yeah, I'm not sure on the play-by-play in that one, but I thought we were just going to discuss the, what your concern was with a full-time job. Is that that's two separate issues, I guess?
My understanding was I understood your email to ask me to move it from my assessors report to the general agenda because you thought that was an important subject. That's what I asked you about, and you said put it on the general agenda.
I believe in my email, which I may have a copy of with me. Because I believe I specifically stated what my concern was. A bunch of papers here. I specifically said in my email, but Steve asked me why I didn't support the part-time to full-time, and my concern wasn't over the budget. And then I went in to state it was over the management of the office. So it's still not on the agenda, so then based on your concerns at our last meeting, it still isn't a topic for discussion because it's not specifically on the agenda.
Evidently, I misunderstood you.
So what is on the agenda? Just to
add a vacant secretary position.
Secretarial position. Vacant secretarial position.
your concern was at the time of the last meeting, which seems like forever now, regarding a full-time or part-time position. And then I was wondering why, you said you were thinking about part-time instead of full-time, and I'm not sure how we worked into this managerial thing. So.
Well, you asked why don't I support it. And I was going into my reasonings for not supporting it, and that's when John interjected and said that he didn't feel it was a good conversation for us to have at that moment in time because it could be taken as an open meeting law violation because it was not on the agenda. So I conceded and you agreed to put it on the next agenda. And it wasn't on the last meeting.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where we stand now, because, you know,
It's-
I guess it's like, you know, they're really, they're involved with each other, I guess, or are they? My thought was really just for with the duties of the office, I wasn't really thinking monetarily or management. I was thinking of the position with the, you know, with the office. The way things go, it's pretty busy, and I've looked at other offices, and I thought, you know, the job task, the duties, day-to-day stuff, certainly qualified for a full-time, you know, person. Plus, replacing the gal that retires, it's a tall order. So at least somebody coming in new, being full-time, you know, eventually down, if they approve it, would give them a chance to, you know, him or her get their feet wet and learn the job. I wasn't, and maybe you were, I wasn't talking about monetarily, I'm just talking about the actual, you know, the job task, like I said. So I'm not sure where we're going with this discussion. I don't really know.
Well, I thought I was pretty clear in my email. I thought I spelled it out quite clearly. If John misunderstood it, okay. But either way, the agenda item didn't change. So I think it should then still be on the agenda, because John raised a valid point at the last meeting. And yes, it does seem like an eternity ago that we had it. It does. But he raised a valid point, and I agree that could be taken as an open meeting of a violation, because we have had them in the past. So he wanted to err on the side of caution, and I don't disagree with him. So it should then be on the agenda, so that way there's no confusion, and no one can say anything.
Yeah, so now I'm totally confused. What do you want to do now?
Well, I don't think it should be discussed because it's not on the agenda for that fact. It's only about the
Right, I don't have a problem not
secretarial
discussing it,
position. Yeah.
because my concern, it's not part-time to full-time. My concern, and I started to talk about, was the problems in the office itself, which is an entirely separate thing, and that's why I didn't support part-time to full-time. And I agree with John that it should be on the agenda, so we're not another violation. I mean, we've
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say, because I'm not really, you know, privy to the exact problems that you're adhering to as far as managerial. I'm just trying to look at the position now. We have a chance to make it full-time, like I said already a couple times, you know, based on the task and the day-to-day stuff.
Well, this is news to me, Mr. Chairman, so that's probably why I didn't understand what you're saying in your email, because it sounds to me like Member Bunker thinks there are some problems in the office, which I'm unaware of.
I'm unaware of them too.
And I think then that morphs into a discussion about yours truly, which then becomes another open meeting law issue. Do you want to do a job performance evaluation of it?
No, not at all.
What's being suggested here?
Nope, not at all.
So I'm somewhat confused.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this job, you know, now we have the chance, you know, starting, you know, July 1 to make it full-time.
But even as far as making it part-time to full-time, I had emailed John some questions, because John and I did have a conversation in the beginning of January, and he sent me an email over why he felt that we needed it, because I was on the fence at that time. And he sent me his response, and then I sent back with some questions and said I'd like to sit down and talk about this. And I sent him some questions. I still never got any response back over some of the things and the reasons why that we need it. So I was trying to be on board, but I'm not convinced that right now it's in the best interest of the taxpayers for it. And I wanted to be convinced.
Just for clarification, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if I agree with that characterization. I had a telephone conversation with Member Bunker, and then I had an email exchange with Member Bunker. So I told her at least twice the same thing that I had to say. And if I didn't answer any questions, to me it seems like I'd just be saying the same thing for a third time. So I don't really know how many times I need to repeat myself.
Well, I asked specific questions. One of your concerns, just as an example, was the enterprise rent-a-car. And I asked how many hours a week do they actually have to spend on that? How involved is it? I asked for more understanding of it, and I never got any response. We never had any further discussion. I mean, that's just an example of one of the questions. I was trying to be on board and understand, but if I can't get answers, I can't go for it.
Well, I could have one of the clerks come here and talk about the enterprise, if you'd like me to do that. She can tell you the work that she does and the number of accounts that she processes. I don't do that personally, but I can get that information for you.
Right, but that was just one of the questions that I had asked and I never got a response to.
Well, I think I explained to you that was one of the reasons.
Right, you said it was one of the reasons, but I asked more questions
Well-
about it.
What would the board like me to do?
I wish I knew.
Do you want to do a time study? Do you want to have somebody sit down next to a clerk and
Well, right now, the
Mark
issue for
down
me,
every time,
that we'll have to get to that.
bill comes
But,
in?
right now, besides working, countless hours on typical ATB cases, I'm trying to wrap my head around that stuff. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'll do whatever you guys want to do because right now I'm just worried about hopefully getting that job full-time. Bringing John's managerial stuff, that's fine. We can certainly do that. But my concern was trying to get that position full-time.
I would like direction from the board too, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Cheryl, what do you think?
I don't think there's
I'm just ready to-
discussion for it
just to hit-
because I think the office runs fine. I don't see any managerial problems in the office. Haven't been any for 18 years that I've been here, and I don't know why they're there now.
I agree.
I feel the same way. I'm not there full-time or part-time to make a real qualified decision, but the way things go, some feedback, some not, whatever, as things go, things haven't changed so much over the years. So it hasn't been put to my doorstep about any real big concerns on that. There might be something, I don't know, but like I said, I'm not here as much as I used to be.
Right, no, I understand.
So,
Does that mean you want to move on with the agenda, Mr. Chairman?
so what did you want to do? You want to put it on an agenda item for
That's-
discussing managerial?
That, just some things
Okay.
that I think need to be addressed.
Okay.
And you guys may look at it and go, no, I don't think it does. Or you may go, geez, you know what, that's not a bad idea.
Okay.
But the only way I can address anything is
Well, maybe
by the board.
we'll put it on the agenda, and before our next meeting, if you have any real concerns or any concerns that have merit or have any weight to it, talk to John about it, and then we can go over what's been going on.
So to be clear, what would you like the topic to be?
I don't know, John. I'm going to be clear. I don't know. Managerial. I'm trying to work on that full-time position there. And you're in that office running it, and all that good stuff. So I'm not sure what questions, topics. It's not my gig.
Well, okay, maybe I'll talk to town council then about what the appropriate subject matter would be. Because I'm concerned again that it's a job performance evaluation.
That's not it at all.
What is it?
It's just concerns. I think we can do things better, and we can do things in a different manner.
So should I make the topic managerial concerns, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, those that's as good as any, I suppose. Getting back to my concern, not a concern, but we have some applicants. We had quite a few applicants apply for that job, and we're going to try to bring someone in that hopefully has some background into it. And we are hoping, or I am hoping, that we can work it into a full-time job, depending on what the town meeting and such. Most assuredly, it's warranted in that position. It's and really in any town hall. But some of these other offices I've checked into, for example, East Bridgewater has the 2 full-timers plus, if you will, a John Donahue and an assistant John Donahue. I'm not trying to put it on that one only, but if you do some checking around, you'll find communities of this smaller size and such with a lot of activity. And being close to the highway, we get a lot of personal property. We got right now it's 1 TIF, hopefully more. A lot of stuff going on. We're $1 billion corporation. Our total value is over that, and we can certainly use all the help we can get. It's making my job more difficult because these with the social media stuff, everybody's come in now and they think they're an F. Lee Bailey. So that in some of these bigger cases that we have, and that's I don't mind doing that. I'm just saying things now are becoming more investigative, more over the top. So on that line, I would say most assuredly the job would qualify for a full-time position.
You mentioned the applications and stuff. Are you getting a lot of good ones? Did you get a lot of good ones, or?
That's a relative term. I reviewed over
Well, in your
400
opinion.
applications.
It's,
And the chairman and I sat down last Wednesday evening and went through about 40 of them, I would estimate,
yeah.
and came up with,
I mean, we had,
with 12 applications that we're going to interview.
what, in day 2 you had 360.
Well,
So,
hopefully a lot of good ones out of there.
yeah, we're gonna go through them, but that's just, people with the municipal job. And, the way things go, it was almost like equivalent to when the guy that came in before John had no assessing experience, and he was an appraiser. And, I took it upon myself to, show him a lot of the rope, and that was good. It's just that, unfortunately now there's not a lot of time for that because we're always busy,
Right.
And, I mean, that worked out good for him. Steve was a great guy and learned a lot. Took it on rather quick. It's just one of those things when you, so I know, my point is you bring somebody in to fill Donna's position, there's gonna, a lot of hand-holding because there's so much going on with this office, as you guys
Right.
know. So,
Is the 6:15 appointment here?
Yes, I am.
okay.
We'll be with you shortly.
All right, I'm done with
I don't
that.
have any minutes. You have the signature folder before you. And the rest of the items I had would be an executive session. Mr. Chairman, review applications for abatement and exemption. Under purpose 7, if necessary, review and discuss strategy of pending appellate tax board cases. Under purposes 3 and 7, and review and accept any qualified executive session minutes under purpose 7.
Okay. So, that being said, we're set to move into executive?
Motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we,
For those purposes, Mr. Chairman.
right, and we will not reconvene into open at the end of it.
Second,
Second,
second.
I'll take a roll call. Assessor Bunker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McCarthy, yes.
6:20.